Hello everyone in Cyber World. Welcome back to another video. I'm Richard.
And I'm Jennifer. This is our channel called Poor Man's DIY.
Okay, this week we're going to show you how to prep the wall, add some texture to it, and then paint it. This is part 2 in our series of our bathroom renovation. If you want to take a look at part 1 where we introduced the whole project and showed how to demo some things as well, take a look up there. So let's take a look at how we do this.
And with that,
cue music. Before we can actually start painting the wall, we need to do some repairs to it, to such things as screw holes that we removed, and always make sure that you remove faceplates such as this. Okay, before we can plug these holes with some joint compound, we want to prepare them so that when the joint compound is added, it will lay flat on here. Take a screwdriver, use the back side, and push it in. Now you have a surface that's been pushed all the way in, nothing is coming out, and we're just going to fill this with some joint compound. Okay, today I'm going to be using a little bit, a new joint compound that I've never used before by Dry Decks. Okay, this is not a sponsored video by any means, and the reason I'm showing you this is, although I've never used this, I use their wood filler. What they do on theirs is it's a certain color when you place it on, and then as it dries it turns into a different color, and that's how you know that it's dry. So according to what I found on this one here, it works just like the wood fillers. I believe it starts off pink, and when it fully dries it will turn white, and then you know that you can start sanding and then painting over it. So here we go.
You will have to apply 2 to 3 coats to get it somewhat smooth. Don't worry about perfection, because the texturing that we're going to add is going to make this whole thing disappear.
now we're going to texture the wall. But before we do that, we're going to actually take some plastic and cover our tiles right here with plastic and frog tape. We chose to keep the tiles because they're in such good condition.
I'm sure there's many different ways to actually tape up things that you're going to cover, but I prefer, based on the times that we've done this in the past, I prefer to put on some frog tape first, and once we're done, I'll come back with the plastic and additional frog tape and put it on there. Now that we have this other tape already on there, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just stick it anywhere on there and you still have that perfect line. And now you've got it covered.
Now we're going to texture the wall, and we're going to use wall texture.
Okay, the purpose for us putting a texture on the wall is to hide defects. When we took it off the mirror, it left a very large gap, and there was other damage on the wall when we removed different parts. So when you patch it up and you sand it down, you now have a flat surface that doesn't match the rest of the wall that has a little bit of texture. So we are going to be putting an orange peel texture on this. The orange peel texture is something you just spray it lightly on, and it has to cover everything. It takes a lot more of this. There's another option that you could use called knockdown. Knockdown will put blobs of this on it, and when it dries a little bit, you take a putty knife and you spread it out and flatten it down, so it doesn't take quite as much to fill up the whole wall. But before you can put on the orange peel, the instructions indicate that you must have a layer of paint on there for this to stick onto fresh paint. So the best paint that we think for sticking to is going to be primer. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and primer the bathroom.
Spray in a circle pattern.
Now we're going to start to paint the walls, and we chose the color Fanciful, which is a light purple, if you can see that.
On a purely technical note, we're actually finished. The wall came out beautiful, the texture was wonderful, and we love the paint very much. But that just wouldn't be us. That would be a little on the boring side. So we're gonna do something a little bit different, as always. Let's take a look at what we're gonna do. Well, since you've seen me taping this, you've probably guessed by now, we're going to do a little extra painting. Instead of doing an entire single wall as an accent wall, we're going to do an accent stripe in the bathroom. Why not? That's just who we are, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so Mrs. Poorman selected something called grape hyacinth. I have no idea what that is. She tells me it's purple. So it's a little bit a darker one. So we're just, like I said, we're just gonna put this on there to make an accent wall out of this to give it a little bit more oomph.
I like the stripe so much, I decided to put one on another wall. The painting is now complete.
Well, we hope this video was helpful to you and that it can clear up some things on what you could do on how to paint your walls. This doesn't always apply just for the bathroom. It could be for any room.
Next week's video is part 3 of our series, and we're going to show you how to install a mirror in a medicine cabinet.
So until then, bye-bye.
Now we're going to now we're going to texture the wall, but before we do now we're going to texture the wall, but before we do that, blah blah blah. Tiles here because they're very that's terrible. Now we're going to texture the wall, but before we do that, we're going to actually tile